Starting today, I'll be living with my dad and mom. Get out, you freeloading housewife.
Married for 5 years. Suddenly, my husband, who I thought I had walked through life with as a couple, put an end to our marriage. He not only belittled me, but also tried to sell our precious home without asking. I could never forgive him. As I watched his retreating figure, I made up my mind. I will definitely get my revenge. My name is Stella, 36 years old. I married my husband, Carl, 5 years ago. At the beginning of our marriage, he told me, "I want you to be a stay-at-home wife," and upon our marriage, I became a full-time housewife. A few years ago, my parents passed away, and now we live in the house I inherited from them. When my parents passed away in an accident, Carl was always there to comfort me. "Stella, please don't cry anymore. It's okay."
But my dad and mom, they're suddenly.
I understand how you feel. But if you cry, won't your parents in heaven be worried?
But
it's okay. I'll always be by your side. Thanks to Carl's kindness, I've fully recovered and can face my parents' death. I thought I was truly lucky to have married him, but then an unexpected event threatened our peaceful married life. One day, while I was out shopping for dinner, I saw Carl, who should have been at work, in town. I couldn't call out to him because of the distance, but judging by his clothes, it was definitely Carl. He went into a real estate office and came out with a big smile on his face. He was supposed to have gone to work as usual that morning, so why was Carl in such a place? We hadn't discussed moving, and there was no reason for him to be at a real estate office. Curious about his actions, I decided to go into the real estate office after he left. I explained to the agent that I was his wife and asked what he was there for. The answer I received was hard to believe. "Oh, the gentleman who was just here? He said he wanted to sell his family home." "His family home, you said?" "Yes. I inherited a big house from my parents, and I want to know how much I can get for it and also want to proceed with the sale," he said. I was at a loss for words, hearing this unexpected news. "Wait a minute. That house isn't his, it's the one I inherited from my parents." "Oh? Is that so? But according to him, you had already agreed." "What?" I had no idea. "The deed is in my name, he can't just sell it." "But he did say I want to sell my family home." "What on earth?" "He was trying to sell the house I inherited from my parents, without even consulting me?" I can't believe it. To begin with, in order to sell a house, you need the deed, the registry, and proof of signature. All these documents are with me, so there's no way he could sell it on his own. What was Carl thinking? I found out his intentions that night. "Carl, I need to talk to." Before I could confront him, he blurted out, "I've had enough of you. Get out." "What?" Interrupting me, that's the first thing my husband said. His parents were standing behind him, glaring at me. "What are you talking about? Why are you asking me to leave?"
It's exactly what I said. I don't have an ounce of affection for you anymore. A woman like you, who can't even get pregnant after all these years, is worthless.
What the heck?
You're serious? You're so annoying. Just leave, will ya? I'm gonna sell this house and buy a condo with the money.
Huh. A condo. As I struggled to understand, a voice came from behind Carl. It was his mother. There's this new tower condo near the train station. Carl says he's gonna buy one there. Why on earth is even you talking like this?
From now on, don't you dare call me Mom so casually. Once you're divorced from Carl, you're a stranger to me. In the first place, it's your fault you can't get pregnant, isn't it? Stella?
I can't believe.
I'm surprised Carl put up with the failure of a wife like you for 5 whole years, right?
She prompted her husband, and he nodded in agreement. I can't believe this. Are they out of their minds? This is the house I inherited. Don't they get it? I tried to hold back my rising anger and said to Carl,
Enough's enough. There are things you just don't joke about, right?
He burst out laughing. A joke? He scoffed.
You think this is a joke?
I've told you countless times, I have no love left for you. From now on, I'll be living with my mom and dad. I've already found your replacement.
So get out, you freeloading leech. What do you mean my replacement? This is my house. Shut up. Just a parasite. I want a divorce. What? Just pack your things and leave by the time I get back. If you're still here, you won't like what happens next.
Leaving me with those words, Carl and his parents sneered as they left. I stood there in shock, watching their backs. The sound of the front door closing snapped me back to reality. Living with mom and dad, he says. This is my house. What nerve they all have. I won't forgive them. I'll make sure they regret mocking me like this. And so, I decided to take revenge on Carl. A few days later, an unsuspecting Carl returned with his parents and a young woman. Desperately jiggling the front door key, he exclaimed,
What the? Why won't it open?
Carl keeps trying to stick the key in the doorknob. I unlocked the door from the inside and appeared before them.
Carl pointed at me, his mouth agape. Hey! Why are you still here?
Why wouldn't I be in my own house?
I told you to leave. You're in the way. Oh, you did tell me that, didn't you? But if you don't like me, shouldn't you be the one to leave? After all, this isn't your house. What did you say?
He lunged at me, grabbing my collar.
You ungrateful! Who do you think provided for you all these years?
Who are you again?
What? You're getting uppity for a wife. Wife? Oh, I'm single, you know? Weird. Wah! Single!
Yes, after he left, I didn't just change the locks. I changed my last name as well. He seemed genuinely confused, so I spilled the beans. After you left with your parents that day, I went to the courthouse and filed for divorce.
Divorce papers? I didn't know. Do I need to tell you? You kept saying, I want a divorce, when you left. But I never signed any divorce papers. Oh. Don't you remember handing me signed divorce papers? What?
He clearly didn't recall, but he had indeed given me signed divorce papers months ago. In fact, a few months prior, we had a dispute over whether or not to let his parents move in with us. I never originally intended to live with them, so I made it clear to him.
I told you when we got married that I didn't want to live with your parents, right? You were okay with it too. I've changed my mind. Besides, we have this big house, why can't my parents live here too? They want to move in, you know. Don't decide on your own. I have no intention of living with them. Well then, guess we're getting divorced. What? Look, I already have the signed divorce papers. My parents told me, break it off with a woman who can't appreciate parents-in-laws. What the heck? Don't throw around the word divorce so lightly.
Come on, you're just a housewife. You wouldn't have the guts to divorce me, would you?
You were the one who asked me to become a housewife when we got married. Enough! That's the problem.
After a big fight, Carl handed me the already filled out divorce papers. I didn't submit them at the time, but I kept them as a trump card for emergencies. He had completely forgotten about the existence of the divorce papers until I mentioned it. Even his parents were stunned to find out they had already been signed. In the midst of all this, there was one person who didn't understand this situation. It was the young woman Carl brought with him and his parents.
Hey, what's going on? Carl!
She's probably his mistress, clinging to Carl's arm in a sweet manner.
But in the end, you planned on divorcing her, right? So, you can marry me.
Rosa, yeah, I guess. As long as I can marry you.
You can't sell this place after divorcing this old lady, but you've got enough money to buy a luxury condo, right?
Wait, what?
You know? I've already bragged to my friends. I snagged a rich husband and will live in a fancy downtown condo.
Well, that's... Carl, looking puzzled, asked her.
Hold on a second. Rich husband? You talking about me? Who else? You work at that super famous Burst Holdings, right? You've got to be loaded. Hold on, I thought you were a doctor. She looked confused. Doctor? Who? I thought you said you worked at a hospital. Oh, I do work at a hospital, but I'm just a receptionist. And it's just a part-time job. A part-time job? I've already told my workplace I'm quitting because I'm getting married. When I said my husband works at Burst Holdings, everyone was so envious.
What the hell is that? Listening to their conversation, I couldn't help but burst out laughing.
Ha ha ha! Stop it! You're making me laugh too much. It's hilarious.
Rosa snapped at me.
What's so funny?
Oops, sorry?
I just couldn't help but laugh because your conversation was so darn entertaining. Ha ha. What? How rude. And what are you saying, considering you're divorced? I mean, him working at Burst Holdings? There's no way.
What? She looked puzzled, and I decided to break it down for her. To her, I'll explain the facts gently and thoroughly.
Just so you know, the company he works for is just a small local business. How can he afford a house like this on a single salary? It's laughable. Is this some kind of joke? Were you lying to me?
Rosa confronted my ex-husband.
He retorted, "You were also pretending to be someone you're not.
You even sent me photos in a white coat, making it seem like you were a doctor."
That was just cosplay. You said you liked that sort of thing. You tricked me. And you acted like you earned big bucks, saying you'd buy me a condo downtown. You jerk.
It seemed they both misunderstood each other's professions, intending to be gold diggers. Realizing the truth, they started a huge argument. His parents were also stunned, having believed their son's new girlfriend was a doctor.
That's enough. I was stupid for being deceived by a guy like you. Goodbye.
As Rosa tried to leave, I stopped her.
Hold on. What? I'm giving him back to you.
Not that. I've already looked into you. I'll be suing you for damages.
What? Why me?
Why? Isn't it obvious? You've been involved with Carl since the time we were married.
If you're going to claim that, then show me some evidence.
Evidence? I've got it. After he left, I searched the room and found tons of evidence of your affair with him in his computer files. Even some lovey-dovey photos of the two of you.
You've got to be kidding.
You went that far. Thank goodness the idiot over there likes to keep memories. Thanks to him, I can firmly demand compensation from both of you.
No way!
She turned pale, began trembling, and slumped to the ground. Seeing this, his parents intervened.
Hey, calm down! Let's all take a breath. Let's go inside and talk.
Go inside? What are you talking about? We're divorced. I can't just let you into my house.
Come on, Stella. Look at the situation.
I don't care. It's all because of your irresponsible son, isn't it? Do you want to make this even bigger?
But
just don't come here anymore. If you force your way in, I'll report you for trespassing. Got it? The word police must have hit hard because they left looking quite drained. Later on, I formally demanded compensation from Carl and his lover. Just as I was thinking that this was all over, I received a phone call from Carl.
Stella, I messed up. Please, help me.
Help? What are you talking about now?
I'm broke. I need to borrow money to pay the compensation.
Turns out, he had been spending a lot on his lover. He believed he could get double from a woman doctor named Rosa. In the end, he and his mistress broke up in a big fight. Now he's not only broke, but struggling to pay the compensation and to even live. But I have no sympathy for him. I'm amazed I ever married such a man. I told him off. I don't care about your situation, you get that? This all happened because you cheated and tried to sell my house behind my back.
I'm sorry, all right? I've woken up and realized you're the only one I have left. Please, come back to me. You think I care about your problem, S? Do you know how much pain you've caused me? I have no intention of dealing with a lowlife like you. Get a loan or whatever, and pay me the compensation, you jerk. And never show your face to me again."
Over the phone, I heard Carl gasp before hanging up. Since then, I haven't heard from him. To pay the compensation, Carl had to work not only day jobs, but also night shifts. His retired parents also had to get jobs to help him pay off his debts. It's truly his just deserts. On the other hand, I'm using my parents' inheritance while job hunting and have now secured a position. My salary isn't particularly high, and I lead an ordinary life, but every day is peaceful and fulfilling. Now that I know I can live happily on my own, I have nothing to fear. I'll be grateful for my peaceful days and move forward. Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. If you resonated with the content, please leave a positive rating and a comment.